Okay, and we're going to continue going through the convention card. And what we're in with the boxes where it says tune-up, right, on the convention card. And all these no trump bids fit together. And that's what I have on the board is what they are. And it's important to know them all because they do fit. There's no gaps. And like I saw somebody who opened one no trump with 19 points, and they knew it was wrong, but they didn't know it was right. So that was what they did. That's not a good idea. Anyway, one no trump is 14 plus to an average 17. And remember what the plus means. The plus means I really have 15 points, but they're not all high card points, right? Like I might have a good 5-card suit, right? A good 5-card suit is always worth a point, right?
Yeah.
And again, when you think tricks and not high card points, which would you rather have? A good 5-card suit or 3 to the jack someplace? Well, that 3 to the jack is unlikely to do you any good, right? The good 5-card suit is. So that's why I say 14 plus, because it's 15 points, but they don't have to be high card points. And why I say average 17, if you have 17 high card points and you have something extra, like a good 5-card suit or a few useful 10s, well, that's more than 17, right? It's really 18 points at 17 high card points. Don't open that one no trump. Like you'll miss games doing that, right? You'll underbid your hand. And basically, one no trump is being used more and more and more because it's a very useful bid. Right away, you gave your partner a good feel for what your strength is, right? I got 15 to 17 points. And now your partner's the captain, right? Captain means your partner makes, thank you, it makes the decisions. Like sometimes, like I taught a class at the college and we were talking about opening a one no trump where you might have a singleton king and then your partner transfers you into where you have the singleton king, right? Which is common, right?
Yeah.
After all, there's 12 of them out there, and some of the time your partner's going to have 5, and he's going to transfer you right into your singleton king. And the gut reaction is, what are you going to do? Well, I'll bid no trump. And that's 100% wrong, right? Once you made your partner the captain, it's like Lucy Brown in football, right? You can't be yanking it away. Your partner's still the captain. You take the transfer. And when you lay down the singleton king, it shouldn't bother you too much because which is better, a stiff king or the 2 and the 3?
Mm-hmm. Stiff king.
Yeah, the stiff king is at least as good as the 2 and the 3. Mm-hmm. So you didn't really hammer your partner by doing that. They're not going to be thanking you, but you wouldn't have hammered them. So anyway.
Besides, it's their own fault that they opened it up with a singleton, especially in a major.
But usually, no, you're the one who did it with the one in the major. Your partner transferred you.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
That's
So basically, it's a good bid, and you're not going to get hurt too bad by it. And part of the reason is you didn't narrow it down, right? If you open a club or a diamond, what can you have? Anything, right? I got 11 points. I might even have more than 21, right? I might have a hand that I don't want to open at 2 clubs. So it doesn't really narrow it down, and part of bidding is to narrow it down. So that's why one no trump is a lot of times a suggested bid, and it's a hard bid to bid over. Like if they have a crummy hand behind you, like your opponents, and they have a 5-card major and you bid one no trump, like you've got to have a halfway decent hand to bid at the 2 level. As opposed to the 1 level, all I need is a good suit. I don't need a good hand. like if I have 5 spades to the king, queen, 10, and you bid 1 club, I'm hopping in with 1 spade with my 5 points. Right? If I have king, queen, 10 and 2 small, hey, I'm happy to play in 1 spade if you're going to let me. And I'm telling my partner what to lead. If you bid 1 no trump, and I have 5 spades to the king, queen, 10, there are 2 things I could do. I could just pass quietly, I could squirm around and then pass. But either way, I'm passing, right? I can't bid with the king, queen, 10 and nothing else over a 1 no trump bid. So it's a blocking bid. Anyway, that's what 1 no trump is. 2 no trump is 20 to 21. Of course, it's really, we're talking points now, not high card points, right? If you have 19 points and a good 5-card suit, bid 2 no trump. If you have 19 points and a couple useful 10s, bid 2 no trump, right? So it's 20 to 21.
Jeff, you always make your 10s useful. Mine are not very useful sometimes.
Yeah, well then you can't count. But basically, the quick rule whether 10 is useful is with another honor. If it's with another honor, it's generally useful. If it's not helping you. It's kind of like the queen, right? If the queen is without the ace and king anywhere in sight, it's not a good card. Even more so with the 10, right? If the 10 needs a lot of help, so it needs to be with another honor to be useful. So if you have 18 to 19, the standard bid is you bid 1 of something and then you jump to 2 no trump on your next bid. So you can see it's all fitting, right? 14 to 17, 18, 19, 20 to 21. If you have 22 to 24, you open at 2 clubs, and your second bid is 2 no trump. That shows 22 to 24, right?
Yeah.
So they all kind of fit together. Okay, now we get to the 3 no trump box. Oh, by the way, on the 2 no trump box, it does talk about puppet statement. And I never teach puppet statement unless somebody puts a gun to my head, because I don't think it's worth learning. Like a lot of people in this area will play puppet statement over 2 no trump. And a couple months ago, Jerry Helms, one of the columnists in the Bulletin, asked Jerry, he wrote, "That's a terrible bid." Well, whether it's a terrible bid or not, it's certainly not a great bid, right? And you don't need to learn it. And over 1 no trump to be playing puppet statement, now you can't play crawling statement anymore. It even limits garbage statement. So I don't teach it because I don't think it'll do you any good. If the gun was to my head, I would tell you what it means. But since it's not, we're not doing that.
I don't know what it is.
It's just a version of statement where,
More artificial bids.
yeah, with more artificial
I
bids.
hate all the artificial bids.
Where
Like you see it.
But opening 2 no trump and then a response of 3 clubs is regular statement.
correct.
Okay.
You are absolutely correct.
Okay.
And the same thing with transfers. 2 no trump, 3 diamonds. It's a transfer, right?
Right. Got it.
Okay, 3 no trump. That's one of the more interesting ones on the convention card. And there are 2 ways to play. One of them is just keep going. 25 to 27 is 3 no trump. It wouldn't be what I would recommend, but that's what some people play. And it's not terrible, but to me, it's kind of wasteful. If you have 25 to 27 points, almost everybody's going to do what?
2 clubs.
2 clubs, right? If you're going to use 2 clubs anytime you have 25 to 27, you're not using the 3 no trump box for anything, right?
Just gambling. I played with
Well, yeah,
gambling.
but that's the other choice is gambling. There's a box there,
Yeah.
and it says 1 suit. That's what gambling 3 no trump is. Gambling 3 no trump means a great hand, but I do have a great suit.
Yeah,
It means I have at least 7 tricks in my minor, right? It's always a minor suit, right? You don't do gambling with a major, right?
ace, king, queen, jack.
You don't need a jack.
You don't need a jack, just ace, king, queen.
Like 7 to the ace king queen will do it, or 8 to the ace king,
Oh, ace, king,
if you have 8 of them,
okay.
right?
So let me ask this again, the one suit is same as gambling, which is a minor.
Right, you're correct.
Okay.
What you said is right. Like you typically you would have this, like ace, king, queen, and 4 little ones, or ace, king, and 6 little ones, right? Basically, when I get in, I'm running at least 7 tricks, but I have to get in. And if I have a hand that's really strong, I don't do gambling 3-no trump, right? Because that's gonna end the auction, and we might have a slam, right? So if you have a lot of good cards outside of your suit, you don't gamble.
That's
That's-
usually an opening bid, correct?
Correct.
So what would you have
By the
in your,
dealer.
what other suit, what would the rest of your cards look like?
Okay. The other part of it is no outside ace or king. That's the rest of my hand. If I have an outside ace or king, you don't do gambling 3-no trump. You're too strong. You have a great suit, and you have one of the other suits stopped. There's a real good chance you have slam, and you just shut off the auction with 3-no trump, right?
So my partner opens 3 notes on it, is gambling. What do I do as responder?
That's a good question. Your partner just told you he has a great suit, and the other 3 suits, at the best, he has a partial stopper, right? He might have a queen, right? But he doesn't have an ace or a king. So he's really weak in the other 3 suits. What does he need from you? The stoppers, right? So, and your question's a good one. What you do is, if you have stoppers, and you could probably figure out which of his suits it is, right? It's always a minor suit, right? And you're not gonna have any high cards in it because he has all of them, right? So you don't need support of his suit. His suit is self-sufficient, right? Or he shouldn't have done this, right? It's like you can't bid 3-no trump and then get in and not be able to run 7 tricks, right? Like, that ain't how it works. If he bids the 3-no trump, he's gotta have 7 tricks when he gets in. So as his partner, if you have a terrible hand, you should have at least 2 suits stopped. If you have 2 suits stopped, you let him play 3-no trump. And you hope they don't find that 4th suit, or you hope your partner has a half stopper and you have half stopper. You hope for a little bit of luck in the 3rd suit. But you've got to have 2 suits stopped, because if you only have 1 suit stopped and your partner doesn't have any, the odds are too good. You're going to go down before your partner ever gets to run his tricks, right? So what would you do?
If I don't have it stopped, don't
Right.
have it stoppers, then I'm gonna bid, 4 clubs.
Correct. Notice we said 4 clubs. And what he's telling his partner is, I'm bidding 4 clubs because I don't have the stoppers that you need, and you're going to be killing you. But it's not 4 clubs to play, right? It's 4 clubs telling your partner, if you suit his clubs, leave it.
Yeah.
But if it's diamonds, bid diamonds. Don't leave me in 4 clubs, right?
Correct.
If your suit is diamonds, right? Like, that's a good time to find a new partner if you bid 4 clubs and he has 7 cards, diamonds, ace, king, queen, and wants you to be playing 4 clubs.
Okay, he bids 4 clubs, say that again, can I?
4 clubs is saying, I don't have 2 of the other 3 suits stopped.
Do not have.
So I don't have stoppers, so we can't play no trump because you're gonna go down right off the top most of the time, right? That's the rationale, right? You don't have stoppers, I don't have stoppers, they're an opening lead. You're going down before you can ever cash your winners. So you know that as the responder, so you bid 4 clubs and that tells your partner, hey, I don't have the stoppers for you. If your suit is clubs, I'll play it. If your suit is diamonds, you better bid 4 diamonds, right? Like 4 clubs is not telling them that I have clubs. 4 clubs is just saying,
We can't play no
we
trump. Name your
gotta be
suit.
playing in your minor. If your minor's clubs, I'll play it. If your minor's diamonds, you play it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's how that works.
And so you could never have that be a major.
No, because if you have a major, you'd wanna be playing for a major. You don't wanna, why would you gamble in no trump when you could make the major suit game?
Right.
Like, it's called gambling 3 no trump, but it don't work all the time. Like, if it works all the time, it wouldn't be gambling 3 no trump. It'd be take your 9 tricks 3 no trump. So if you have, and that's a good question, if you have a good 7-card major, that's gonna be trump.
You may not be able to get to it, right?
Well, if it's a major, that's gonna be trump. Like, there's no reason to play no trump if you have a good 7-card major.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't open 3 no trump then?
Never.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah, the 3 no trump bid is only with the minor.
Only with my, yeah.
So if you got ace, king, queen, and 7, you know, typically if I've got a strong major with 8 of them, I open it to 4 of them.
No. Because you're gonna miss too many slams doing that. People do that all the time, and when they don't miss a slam, they don't feel bad. When they do miss a slam, they look for a new partner.
So I guess we don't do
Basically,
that anymore.
think about it. If you have,
Do you have the points, opening points or not?
it doesn't,
No.
like, basically, when you have that good a hand, think about how many losers do you have?
If you got 8 of them, 5 at the most.
Yeah,
maybe 6.
well, if you have absolutely nothing outside, yeah, you could open 4. But if you have a couple cards outside, right? So now
Open your major.
you only have 3 losers. There's a real good chance that your partner's gonna cover 2 of those 3 losers. You're gonna make 6. And you're gonna get a bad board. And if you're playing imps, you'll have just lost the match. So basically, to open it 4, it's saying, you know, you need like a perfect hand for me to make slam. Like, you'd have to cover 4 of my 5 losers. Well, if they're covering 4 of your 5 losers, they could do that over 4 spades, right?
Yeah.
But if they're only covering 2 or 3, then they're not, and you're gonna miss the slam.
Is that alertable gambling, and how will somebody know, how will the partner know to alert that?
Okay, I'm gonna look down on here, because it's on the, yeah, it is alertable, but it's in red.
Okay,
Mhm.
and I guess if your partner just all of a sudden opens 3 no trump,
Yeah, you
have
just
to
say alert.
You don't say alert.
Yeah, you just say alert, because it is in red, so that's a good point.
With that 8-card, if you were non-vulnerable and you were in, your partner's already a passed hand,
If we
it'd be a better bid than
open 3 no time, 25%, we have to write underneath.
if you're sitting in 3rd seat.
Yeah, well, it depends how
Kinda
much you have
hurts.
outside it.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a reasonable chance that your partner can cover your losers, or enough of them to make slam, you gotta explore it. If you're sitting there with like 5 losers and your partner passed, well, now you know your partner's not covering 4 of them, so it's easy, right? If you have 4 losers, you could probably still do it. If you have 3 losers, your partner might be able to cover them though. So if there's a chance that your partner can cover your losers, you have to give your partner the chance to find a slam. If it's highly unlikely, like, sure. Okay, the next bit is 2 clubs. And almost everybody plays that as strong, unless you're playing a big club system, right? And most people play it as almost forcing a game.
We played game forcing.
It's almost forcing a game. Typically, I have 8.5 tricks. Typically, what I have on my convention card. I have 8.5 tricks in my own hand. Or I have 22 plus points.
Do you count length, is that distribution, include distribution?
Usually, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
That also has some nuances.
Okay.
But it's generally 22 points, but it's usually you're thinking tricks.
Ah.
And the key here is how responder bids. And there are 2 choices that make sense and many choices that people play that don't make sense. We'll talk about the 2 that make sense first. One of them is what Larry Cohn does. And almost everything I tell you is what Larry Cohn does. Like, he's the one who every month in the bulletin for years and years, his columns tell you what the standard bids mean. Like, he's basically the authority on standard bids. And he's a really good player. And you can see what he has all kinds of articles, you know, he runs all these bridge cruises and stuff. And the people who learn from him are also columnists in the bridge bulletin, like guy Berkowitz, you know, he learned from Larry Cohn.
I get an email from him every week.
Yeah. Anyway, Larry Cohn likes 2 diamonds, waiting. The only time you don't bid 2 diamonds is if you have a 5-card suit with 2 of the top 3, or it could be longer than 5+ card suit with 2 of the top 3. Then you can bid your suit. Okay,
What is it?
like your partner bids 2
Bid
clubs.
bid your suit?
If
Oh,
you,
the
this is the
opener.
responder now, right? You open 2 clubs, if I bid 2 hearts, I'm promising at least 5 hearts and 2 of the top 3.
Oh, bid that suit. Okay.
Right. But if I don't have that, I have to bid 2 diamonds. Those are my only 2 choices.
Yep, that's what we do.
And one of the things that Larry Cohn is insistent upon is never bid no trump. Like, I don't care if you have 12 points and a flat hand, you don't bid no trump. Why? Why wouldn't you?
Gonna put the big hand out on the board.
Yeah, you cut out a level of bidding for one thing.
Well, it's more what Ron says. Basically, you want
Oh,
the big hand to be playing it.
right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you're gonna wanna play a no trump, and now the big hand is gonna be laying there on the board.
Otherwise, the big hand shows on the board.
Like, I won't tell you this person's name, but when I first started playing in the Houston area, I played with somebody who had, I don't know, a couple thousand points at the time. And I had like a couple hundred points at the time. And we were playing, and she opens 2 clubs, right? I got a jack, that's my hand. 1 jack, no suit. Yeah. I bid 2 diamonds, she ends up wherever she ends up. And now they lead out of turn. So, call a director like you're supposed to, right? They call a director. And they gave her choices, and you could tell where this is going, right? One of the choices is,
Except for bid.
I could play it instead of her. I could play it with my hand that has a jack in it instead of her hand that has like 25 points. And that was the choice that she picked. She said, oh, let Jeff play
So
it.
the big hand was down on the table.
Yeah, all her 25 points were on the table, and nobody could see which jack I had. And,
So that was her strategy?
well, her strategy was, since I could play so much better than she could, even though she had 10 times as many points as me, she would lay her hand down on the table and let me play it. And I figured, you know, if you're going to think like that, you need to play with somebody else. Like I always tell people, when I played with Aletha, who was a better declarer than anybody, including me, I played more hands than her. And that was, part of it is, there are certain things we were never going to agree on. And so we didn't, right? She did what she wanted to do, and I did what I wanted to do. And one of the things that we were never going to agree on, if she had both minors, like if she was 4-4 and diamonds and clubs, and she had a minimal hand, she'd open a diamond, and then she'd put 2 clubs. If I had that same hand, as long as, and you could tell what I'm going to do, right? If I have that same hand, and I have a little something in the majors, I ain't bidding clubs on the second bid, right? My second bid's going to be 1 no trump. And because of that, I played a lot more hands than hers. I always did that, and she always did what she did. But the point of it is,
She was okay with that? She didn't gripe at you for doing it?
it didn't matter. I was still going to do it, and
They
she was still
agreed
going
to
to do it.
disagree.
Yeah, it didn't matter. But anyway, the point of it is, Larry Cohn says, never, no matter what you have, you don't bid 1 no trump and wrong side the contract. Because a lot of times that's the difference between a slam making and a slam going down. If you have that lead coming into the strong hand, a lot of times that'll give you a trick.
Are you saying don't open 1 no trump?
No, we're talking about the one who responded to the 2 club bid.
Don't respond to no trump.
Got it.
Yeah, if they bid 2 clubs, you don't get the bid no trump. You get the bid 2 diamonds or your good 5-card suit. But if you have a hand that a lot of people would bid 2 no trump, like, hey, I got 10 points, I don't feel like bidding 2 diamonds and I got some points, I'll bid 2 no trump. Well, then you'll end up playing it, and a lot of times you'll go down because the lead's gonna come through my hand.
Yeah, the Larry Cohen down is responders.
Yeah, this is all the responder, right?
Yeah.
The 2 diamond waiting, the 2 of the suit, and you're never bidding no trump.
And that's what Cohen says to do?
Yep, that's it, that's exactly how he plays it.
Okay.
And if you have a bust stand, and what's a bust stand? Typically.
3 clubs or 2 hearts.
No, it was
That's-
zero.
No, what would your hand be?
Less than 1. one 3-point.
No ace or king, that's a
Yeah,
bust.
no worries. Yeah.
If you have no ace or king, responders second bid is the cheaper minor.
Mm-hmm.
Which is usually 3 clubs, right? It's usually, like you might have something like this, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, 2 spades, 3 clubs, right? That's a cheaper minor.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes if it goes 3 clubs, right, if your partner suit is clubs, now the cheaper minor is what? Now it's diamonds,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It's the minor you could bid at the lowest level, right? So then, now the cheaper minor is 3 diamonds, right? That's the cheaper minor.
Yep.
So those are, and there's one tricky one, it almost never comes up, but if it does, it's good to know what the bid is. If it goes like this, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, and if your partner is rude enough to bid 3 diamonds, right? And sometimes they are, very rarely, but sometimes that's their suit. They have a big hand with a lot of diamonds. Now what's the cheaper minor?
3 no
Well-
trump?
You're right, 3 no trump.
Well,
Very
that's a
good,
minor.
3 no trump.
I never thought of that as
But
a
you have
minor.
to, well, you have to
Well, because,
think about what's logical, because you don't really want to bid past 3 no trump, especially if your partner's suit is diamonds, right? You want to, most of the time you want to be playing 3 no trump anyway. But whether you do or not, you don't want to go past 3 no trump. Let your partner make the decision, no, I don't want to play 3 no. Because if you bid 4 clubs, they're not going to let you bid 3 no trump anymore. You could try it, but usually
Yeah, they won't.
bridge players aren't all that friendly to you, they say.
I know.
So basically, 3 no trump is now the cheaper minor. It's not a minor, it's just when you're hit with that sequence, that's what you do, because most of the time you want to play a no trump rather than diamonds. Like there are exceptions, but your partner can pull it, right? And you've already told him you got no ace or king, right?
Yeah.
So he could go back to diamonds if he chooses, or he could let you play 3 no trump. And it's always good bridge to let your partner make the last mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway,
Because then you have the big hand on the table.
I know it happens.
yeah, well, you can't have everything, right?
Yeah.
You don't really want to bid past 3 no trump, and you're not allowed to pass, right? Your partner might have 12 tricks in his hand, and if you leave him in 3 diamonds, you'd be looking for a new partner.
That's just cheaper bid, basically.
Yeah, it's the cheapest bid you can make at this point. So anyway,
Not a minor, can't do mine, yeah.
that's what Larry Cohn plays, and what I wrote on the board is exactly what he teaches. Okay?
Yeah.
Now there's another system that a lot of good players use. And it's interesting, one of the good players who recommends this system is Marty Bergen, who plays with Larry Cohn a lot. I don't know which they play when they play together. But anyway, what he does is 2 diamonds is still waiting, and 2 hearts is a bust.
Oh, yeah.
That means that it gets bust, no ace or king, right? Now, this has advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is, if your partner bid 2 diamonds, you know they have an ace or a king, and if they bid 2 hearts, they don't. So you get some useful information right away. What's the disadvantage of this bid?
If his suits hearts.
Right, if his suit's hearts, you just got the wrong hand playing. So it has an advantage, it has a disadvantage. And the other advantage is this is a very easy system, right? Like I'm either gonna bid 2 diamonds or I'm gonna bid 2 hearts. And, but I think he would also, if you have a 5-card suit with, or longer, with 2 of top 3, I think it's always a good idea to bid it right. I think that's important information to your partner to have. This is the best description of your hand. Okay, so those are the 2 systems that you could choose from that good players play. They're,
Jeff, do they bid 3 hearts if they really have 3 hearts up there in the waiting? Like if the responder really has hearts, you know, the 5-card heart suit,
oh yeah, they'd have to bid, yeah.
and you have to bid 3 of
Yeah,
them?
you'd have to bid 3 because 2 hearts is a conventional call, correct. You're right.
Was the scenario 2 clubs, 2
Say,
diamonds, still?
say your
3 hearts?
5-card suit is hearts and you're playing this thing, well,
Oh, right.
you can't bid 2 hearts anymore
Yeah,
because it doesn't mean
yes.
that. So you'd have to bid 3 hearts.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the responder, not the opener.
Right, yeah, this is all the responder. Okay,
Yeah.
some other systems that are popular, but they're not popular among good players. They do steps,
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Been there, done that.
you know, typical thing, and you know, you do 2 steps for an ace, 1 for a king. So people do steps. I don't recommend it because Larry Cohen doesn't. Basically, it wrong sides the contract a lot. It uses up a lot of bidding room. Occasionally, it'll work. That's why people do it, because
Do you know you have extra time today? We don't start till noon today.
didn't know
Oh, I
that.
didn't know that. Okay, well, we'll go another 10 minutes then. Okay, thank
Who
you.
told you that, my friend? Who told you that?
Okay,
That we didn't start till noon?
so anyway,
Who
the
told you that?
steps is common, but it does have that weakness, so wrong sides contracts, uses up bidding space. And people do it also with points, like if I have 2 points, I'll bid less than 2, 2 diamonds, 3 or 4, 2 hearts, 5 or 6. So they'll do all kinds of step responses. Larry Cohen doesn't like it, I don't like it.
No,
So we're not gonna
no,
deal on that.
I don't like it.
Okay, I'm gonna go over one,
But we can always ask, just ask them what that means.
well, yeah, you can, and remember, only ask if it's gonna affect what you do, right?
Right,
But
right.
never ask to let them talk across the table.
Mm-hmm,
It's not your job to help them know what their bids mean.
right.
All right, since I have a few more minutes, I'm gonna continue on the 2 club bid.
So on the 2 club, do you check very strong,
Yes.
strong, very strong?
Very strong, right?
Okay.
Like, the only time it's not forcing the game is if we have this kind of auction. 2 clubs, and say we play 2 hearts. It's a bust, 2 spades, 3 of something. Like, I got nothing to say, right? And if I say 3 spades now, I need a trick from you and you just told me you don't have one. So we don't need to go down, we'll play 3 spades.
Oh,
If you showed, but this is a bust, right? You have showed me a bust. I've shown you my suit. And you're still not going to game. Like if you have like 4 spades or the queen and 3 little ones, you would just bid 4 spades, right? I told you, all I need is 1 trick from you. Do you have it? If you have it, bid 4 spades. If you don't have it, just make some other bid and let me get out at 3 spades so I could make 3 spades instead of going down one, right?
That's why you did something. So
Well,
they
they-
have the choice.
When we go.
Well, basically, I'm giving you a chance to show if you have anything, right? Okay, you don't have an ace or a king, but you could have 3 to the queen, right?
pass or bid it.
No, they gotta bid something, but you gotta split it up, because I still might have a big hand.
You could still have 5 or 6 points, you just don't have an ace or a king.
Yeah, you have a trick or so for me,
Okay.
and that's what I'm looking for with two spades. But you don't know, I'm still unlimited with 2 spades. Like I might have game in my own hand, and if you have a trick, that'd be enough for slam.
Does that 3 of something say I have a trick?
Just says you're not completely.
No, because basically the 3 is something, or 2 no trump, it's like you made me bid, I'm gonna make the most descriptive bid I had. I already told you I got nothing, but I have to bid, so here it is.
He said, I don't have anything, I don't have anything.
Now, what if you-
But he's still asking, do you have 1 trick?
So what if you don't have even one? You don't ever pass the 2 spades?
No, because this hand might have game in your own hand. I'm giving you the chance to let me know if you have a trick, and if you have a trick, you could either bid 3 spades, or you could bid 3 no trump, right?
Yeah.
Like if I got something for you, it's time to be game now, right? I already told you I don't have an ace or a king, and you're still bidding, right? You,
Bid 4 spades.
right,
4 spades.
4
3 no
spades, you're
trump.
correct. 4 spades, good catch. 4 spades, you're right. But if I have,
That's it.
when you open 2 clubs, all you need is a trick from me. If I got it, I'm gonna big game. If I have spades with you, it's in bids. Otherwise, it's probably gonna be 3 no trump. But I'm telling you, I got a trick now.
Jeff, okay, so the 2 clubs, 2 hearts, if the opener actually has hearts, then that scenario, does he just bid 4 hearts?
No, because you still, if you only gonna, remember, you're close to game. Usually you don't have all 10 tricks. So then you would just bid 3 hearts. Just show your suit.
Okay.
And, and that's part of the problem with this is, with this system, is if your partner bids your suit, it's not good for you.
Yeah.
Becomes awkward. So a lot of times it works well, but in sometimes it doesn't. But in any case, if you do have anything on your second bid, just go to game, right? Your partner said, I'm within a tricky game. All right, I got a trick. We're in game. If you don't have the trick, I'll bid it, make the cheapest bid I could have, and you could sign off at 3 spades if you want, or if you have enough for 4 on your own, you bid 4.
All right, I'm gonna change the scenario,
Play that
Okay.
system.
okay? 2 clubs, 2 hearts, 3 hearts. Now what?
Yeah, well, that was what she said. Now you have it all.
So now what do I do?
Basically, you already told them you have a bust, but you really can't pass, right? So, if you have heart support,
Just raise it.
you just bid 4 hearts. If
Right.
you don't have heart support,
3 no trump.
it's either, if you have 4 spades, you might bid 3 spades. If you don't have either hearts or spades, you know, you really don't like bidding past 3-0 trump, so
Right.
I might even bid 3-0 trump with the right distribution. But it's a very awkward bid is the point.
Yeah.
You make, it's back to making the least bad bid. You're in a tough spot. Which bid's gonna do you the least amount of harm? Make that bid.
A dog pass.
No, because this hand still might have game in your own hand, right?
Okay.
And at worst case, you'd rather them go down one after they bid 2 clubs. You'd rather have them go down one than miss a game because you bailed out on them and have them go crazy on you, right? Okay,
Crazy runner?
now, a key thing that people get wrong all the time now is you don't always bid 2 clubs when you have a strong hand. And the most common one, and I know a lot of you get what I send out, and if you don't, if you just give me your email, I'll put you on the list. But if I have this,
One more.
one more.
Void, huh?
Yeah,
Spades, hearts, and diamonds.
yes, yeah, like spades, hearts. And basically, I got a couple losers there,
Yeah.
2 there, 4.
couple losers there, right?
Mhm.
That's within a tricky game, right?
Can you bid 2 clubs with a void?
Sure. It's not the void that's gonna stop you from doing it,
Okay,
but you shouldn't bid 2 clubs with this, why not?
why not?
You had 5 losers.
No, you don't.
No, just
No, you don't.
Yeah, you don't go
four.
past the first
Yeah,
3
4
when you
losers.
count losers. You have 4 losers.
What's the problem then bidding 2 clubs, you say?
Okay, say the auction goes like that. Say you do bid 2 clubs. Say you've never been to this lecture and you bid 2 clubs. And now this hand passes. Your partner makes the waiting bid. You bid 2 spades. And say a lot of times when you have a distributional hand, what happens? They bid, right? Because there's distribution around the table. If you have long suits, they got long suits, right? All of a sudden,
They hit your suit.
3
boom,
clubs.
this guy comes in with 3 clubs. Your partner slams that double card on the board, on the table. He almost breaks it, right? That double card can't come down fast enough. They double. This guy, he can't pass fast enough. You don't want any part of this auction, right? Up to you. Now what? Whatever you're gonna do, it's a pure guess, right? Your partner made a penalty double. You don't make partners happy pulling their penalty doubles. Like he or she made it clear that they want to penalize them. They don't want your double penalized. Full. On the other hand, you bid 2 clubs, so what does your partner think?
You got 22.
He thinks you have a good hand anyway. He thinks you have a good hand and you have good defense, right? You open 2 clubs. You gotta have some defense. What kind of defense you got?
Not much.
Minimal, right?
Thousands of clubs,
Like,
yeah.
Maybe you
Like,
might get a spade.
yeah, you have minimal defense, so you just have to guess. You want the opponents to guess, not you. That's why you don't open this 2 clubs. You don't want to be put in a position where your partner makes a penalty double and you don't have a clue whether to pull it or not. And you wouldn't with this auction. Okay, I'll see you next month.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Jeff,